Welcome to the Boundaries Unleashed podcast with your host, me, Vicky Pittman, boundaries coach and tarot mentor to recovering people pleasers and modern mystics. Today, we're going to be talking about how to trust yourself again after years of people pleasing. Now, I can definitely attest to this firsthand, and every single client that I work with in all of my coaching programs, specifically my LEAP coaching program, they are people pleasers year after year after year. Like they, like me, have a long history of people pleasing. And we'll talk about why that is. But today it's about, even if you can relate to that yourself, it's all about regaining the trust with yourself. And that's our topic today. And that's what I want to start activating within you as you listen to this episode. Now, just right off the bat, a people pleaser, whether you identify as one or not, quite succinctly, it's just someone who chronically or consistently prioritizes the needs and desires of others, even at the expense of their own needs and desires. It is someone who is always looking outward and projecting outward and always caring for outwards, but will sometimes or oftentimes not project and assess and caretake inward. Now, no one is born a people pleaser, right? We don't just like pop out and be like, I would like that flavor of life in this lifetime. Yeah, no, we're not born as a people pleaser. We learn to become one, which also means we can learn to unbecome one. Now, obviously, there are many ways that you can develop and learn how to be a people pleaser, but I found that it kind of happens three ways. Through the work with my clients, I've just noticed three main patterns, and those are ones I'm going to discuss today. So, the first and probably the most popular one, if you will, is early conditioning. All right. So we're talking about when you're younger, maybe there was a switched role between parent and child. Maybe you had an emotionally unavailable parent or main caretaker. Maybe there was trauma or abuse. Early conditioning, these are things that happened when you were a child or while you were developing, and you learned that this is a way of survival. The second way that we can kind of become people pleasers is through learned behavior. When we do X, we get Y result. We've learned that we can either earn success or earn love when we engage in people-pleasing behaviors. We get a sense of fulfillment out of making other people happy by utilizing our natural skills. Most people pleasers have natural skill sets of high empathy. They're usually true deep empaths. They're highly feeling people. They're very sensitive to energies of other people, of the room. They can sense things, like they have the sixth sense. They are very good at recognizing patterns. So if you see patterns like when they come home and they act this way, I know that this future behavior is highly probable that it's going to happen. And so we've learned we can use those skill sets to predict behaviors. And so we adjust our own behavior to kind of work with what we already know, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So a learned behavior, meaning we've gained success by engaging in people-pleasing behaviors. Okay. I've seen this a lot with in professional settings too, especially in Western cultures where the tendency to overwork or work longer hours or work overtime or stay late or take on extra projects has resulted in people getting promotions over those who hadn't. And so it's one of those that it can be useful for us to have people-pleasing behaviors. So it's not unuseful. It can be a learned behavior. We've gotten results from it. And then the last kind of third category, I would say, is a pivotal moment. So this is an exact moment that you can remember vividly of when, and it's typically a negative situation or a negative interaction where someone either discarded or discredited your feelings, like just completely didn't care. And it really impacted you. So we see this a lot with bullies, any bullying behavior. And at that pivotal moment, you decided, I never want to ever feel like this again. And so you start to learn to people please so you never ever have to go through that situation again. So these are three pivotal ways: early conditioning, learned behavior, and pivotal moments. Now, my own personal journey as a people pleaser, I got to people pleasing kind of all three ways. I like the combination of all three. And it wasn't until about 5 years ago, so it's 2025 now. So we're talking like 2020, right? Let's set the stage. 5 years ago, 2020, the pandemic, right? Personally, I was recently postpartum. I was running a brick and mortar Pilates studio. And it was literally at the start and the height of the pandemic. So the last thing you wanted was a fitness business, and the whole world shuts down, and I have a baby. So yeah, life was hard. I'll just put it that way. Okay. What a time to be alive during 2020. I look back on that, I'm like, how? So, needless to say, it was a very stressful time. And it was a stressful time for a lot of people, right? The entire world. It was a global pandemic. And, when we're stressed, humans, when we're stressed, we have a natural reaction, revert back to deeply ingrained survival mechanisms to regain a sense of control. And as a people pleaser, that's what I reverted back to. I needed a sense of control. Like, okay, I need to get everyone to feel calm. I need everyone to feel grounded and relaxed. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure everyone around me feels that way. I took on a lot of stress and a lot of responsibility that wasn't mine. And it almost broke me, to be truthful and to be honest. I was engaging in people pleasing. I was overworking. I just felt like if I put all the hours in, clearly I can make things better and I can make the pain go away for everybody. And again, I was just really searching for that sense of control, and we all know that that will never happen, and it didn't happen. And after attempt after attempt after attempt of it not working, because it doesn't work like that, right? I did something completely drastic, at least for me. And especially as an outgoing, very sociable person, I retreated. I really got hermit like. It was a little bit natural to do because it was the pandemic and we were all in lockdown and things like that. But I even went another level. I got real quiet. I didn't talk to a lot of people. I spent a lot of time alone, and I needed to do that to really hear myself again. I was so outwardly focused that I had lost the ability to hear my own inner voice, to hear my own inner wisdom, to make the decisions that were aligned with what I needed, what my studio needed, what my family needed, all those things. And I really was searching for grounding, and I did that by being alone. And it was through that intentional choice I was able to reestablish the relationship with my intuition and my inner wisdom that I had long set aside when I was more engaged in the opinions of other people. And I did that through a couple different ways. I did it through journaling, I did it through nature walk meditating, I did it through tarot and oracle cards. And it was through those mediums that I was able to find my voice again. I was able to find my intuition. I was able to hear my own voice and trust my own body, my own intuition like never before. And I was able to do that without overthinking or second guessing. So that's my journey into it. It's always what I infuse into all of my coaching programs and what I'm infusing into this podcast now. So when we engage in people pleasing behaviors, what we're doing is we're slowly eroding our own self-trust because we're outsourcing our truth to other people and to the outside environment. We ignore our intuitive impulses that help guide and support healthy behaviors. We no longer can feel the body sensations, right? Is our breath changing? Do we feel the pit in our stomach anymore? Do we feel the sweaty palms? We recognize insomnia or appetite changes or headaches. Do we understand that those are stress responses? When we're getting those impulses, but we're not recognizing them for what they are, we're losing that self-trust with our own body, right? We stop listening, our brain all of a sudden takes that option off the table. We become numb to it. And in some ways, we almost kind of gaslight ourselves. I know that happened to me a few times where I would think about making a decision and I would have this like uncomfortable feeling in my belly. And I'm like, oh, what does this mean? Well, maybe I just had some bad lunch. And it was like, no. That was my intuition saying, think about this, Vicky. Is this really what you want to do? Take a pause, think about it. But I just pushed through it because I was looking for that sense of control. So this is how it erodes self-trust. We no longer can recognize and feel our intuitive body sensations. And we also outsource our decision making to other people. It builds this kind of codependency situation. Our identity and our self-worth gets tied to other people's needs and decisions. And We're very attuned to their needs, but we have no idea what we need. So, what are some signs that maybe you're outsourcing your decisions? Maybe you have a relationship with your intuition, but you have this awareness that it's maybe not serving you as best as it could and outsourcing your decisions. How would you recognize that? So let me give you 5 ways. I love me a nice numbered list. Here you go. Here's 5. The first one being you outsource every decision. This is that Facebook, Instagram, TikTok poll. Should I buy this car? Should I make this career move? A weekend planned? What color to paint your nails? You're polling everybody. What would you do? Or maybe you even ask your tarot deck, what should I do? Right? Because making the choice for yourself somehow just feels wrong, right? You want to give up the responsibility. You just want someone to tell you what to do. Okay. So if you crowdsource every decision. Second is if you're second guessing yourself constantly. So even when your gut is screaming yes or no, you override it. You worry about how others feel or will react. If someone disagrees, you assume that they must be right. They don't think this is right, so maybe I should rethink that. Or what brought them to that conclusion? We just second guess ourselves constantly. Third, you prioritize others' comfort over your own needs. So this is when feeling no feels really hard. Like it feels way too harsh. When speaking your truth feels really risky. And so instead, you just kind of mold yourself to fit what others expect of you, and oftentimes at the expense of your own well-being. This is what I call living in the should. I should be doing this. They expect me to do X, Y, and Z. Another reason why is you feel paralyzed without validation. Now, this is a big one. This is probably one that comes up a lot with my coaching clients and usually takes the longest to unravel, is this feeling paralyzed without validation. So this is if no one gives you the reassuring nod or a cosmic sign that kind of validates the decision you're making, you feel stuck or you feel like you can't move forward. Because you don't trust your own knowing unless someone else confirms it. You have this gut or this intuitive feeling, but unless someone says, yeah, I would do that, or you're looking for that cosmic sign, or for your therapist to tell you yes, or for your best friend to tell you yes, you don't trust it. Feeling paralyzed without this validation factor in it. And then lastly, you regret decisions that weren't truly yours. So if you think back, and if you've ever had a moment where you're like, man, did I really want to take that job? Did I really want to stay in that relationship? Did I really want to go to that party? Did I want to go to that event? And you look back and think, did I even want this? You're like, how did I end up here if I never even wanted this? So when you have that regret or repeated regret about things, that's how you can know you're outsourcing your decisions. So if you find that happening, how do we get back to trusting ourselves again after years of people pleasing? I want to give you a 3-step framework, because not that frameworks are the end all be all, but I feel like they are helpful tools, and I'm here to give you those tools to work through your own stuff. So if you're wanting to trust yourself again and really build that relationship with your intuition, here's 3 ways to do that. The first one being to pause and listen. And this can be tricky when you have anxiety. I do. That's me. That's me. Okay. And to really just listen to what your own thoughts, your own body is telling you. And if you have anxiety, you sometimes can't trust your own thoughts. Like that's me. My brain will just go to every worst case scenario of what's going on. So it's hard for me to break out what I'm truly feeling, because I'm like feeling the anxiety of all the possibilities. But if I just pause and listen, whether either to my mind or to my body, whichever one or both feels best for you, you want to tune into yourself first before you seek out opinions of others. So just take a deep breath and ask, what do I actually want? And if you're like me and you use tarot or oracle cards to help with your intuitive practice or your spiritual practice, you want to make sure that they're there as a supportive role Okay? That you're using them as tools, as a reflection of your intuition and not replacing it. And sometimes I feel like that's hard for us modern mystics to do, is that we want, like, the tarot deck has all the answers. It'll tell me what to do. That's still outsourcing. Okay? That's why I teach intuitive readings with my coaching clients. So you want it to be a reflection of your intuition, not replacing it. I felt like that's really important to talk about. So step one of the framework, pause and listen, tune into yourself first before you seek support or opinions of other people. Okay? Number two is to decide, then declare. You want to kind of set a deadline for yourself. Now, this can be 5 minutes, it could be 5 days, it could be a month, okay, depending on how big or small the decision is. But you want to give yourself a timeline to make a decision with it before you seek external input. Forces you to decide. I don't say impulsive decision, but it keeps you from overthinking. It keeps you from self-sabotaging your decisions. And so instead of asking, what do I think I should do? Start saying, here's what I am doing. Here's what I'm doing, right? It's more of a declarative sentence as opposed as open-ended question. And when you do that, for one, it helps you trust your own intuition. You come with all the wisdom of your background, your experiences, your circumstances. You have all the cards, so you know how to make the best decision. But even still, there might be a time where you still want support on how to implement your decision. And so it's first important to decide what the decision is, declare it. So when you are seeking support, whether it be from a coach, a trusted loved one, from a therapist, whomever, your spiritual mentor, they know where you're going and they can support you on that journey as opposed to telling you what to do or where to go. And it really helps you stand in your decision, even if it feels uncomfortable. So decide, then declare. And lastly, release the guilt. Other people's feelings aren't your responsibility. And I can't repeat that enough. Other people's feelings aren't your responsibility. That's their journey. You have your journey. And it can be really easy to say, just release the guilt. Like, just like that, Vicky, just release it, just like that. Yes, just like that. Because at the end of the day, not everyone's going to agree with you, and that's okay. Like I said before, you know the full picture. You know all of your past experiences. You know all your future desires. You know what you want. You know all the ins and outs of the circumstances you're in. You have all the information that most people don't have. They don't understand what it's like to be in your shoes. They're giving you advice based on their perspective and their experiences and circumstances, not yours. They will never truly know what it's like to be in your shoes. They can probably relate, but your inner wisdom is going to have the higher authority here. So trust that your wisdom has your back. It makes it a little easier to release the guilt about it when you know that your wisdom, it has your back. And know that it's not your job to keep everyone happy. And as a people pleaser, that's like, it's hard to stomach a little bit because you want everyone to be happy. But, you want to honor yourself. And when you honor yourself, you provide an environment that's actually more conducive to true happiness for everybody. You know what you need. And the last thing I'll say about releasing the guilt is that you still may feel the guilt, even when you're releasing it or even when you've made the decision. But it's easier to release it when it's coming from a place of self-love. That's just a healthier place to be. And so you can still feel it, but it won't be as impactful, or you won't make up stories about what it means if you're coming from a true place of self-love. So that's the framework. That's how we can kind of get back to trusting your intuition after years of people pleasing. 1, pause and listen. Tune into yourself first. 2, decide, then declare. 3, release the guilt, and other people's feelings aren't your responsibility. I know you can do it. It's an easy 3-step. If you have to write it down, if you have to revisit it, but it's useful and effective. I also want to offer to you, if you're one of those people pleasers like me who have a hard time letting go other people's energies, if you're having a hard time like getting to that quiet place, right? Maybe you're not in a space where you can retreat and be alone for a long time, but you do want to make sure that you're coming from decisions from an authentic place, from your intuitive place, and not from other people's place. It's very, very helpful to do an energetic scrub. And what I mean by that is literally like, when you've been playing in the mud or get dirty and you take a shower and you just wash wash all the mud off and now you feel clean and fresh and you feel like you can take on the world. Well, you can do the same with energy too. Anytime we interact with people, anytime we interact with communities, buildings, physical things, it can leave a little bit of a sticky energy on us. And it's hard for us to make decisions when we're still carrying all that around. And so I've recorded 20-minute energetic scrub exercise that I would love to just drop in your inbox. So if you want to join my email list, I'd be happy to give that to you free of charge, of course. And really, it's to release the energy and opinions of others, ground yourself back into your authentic intuitive state. After listening, you're going to feel lighter. You're going to feel more relaxed. So that way you can easily access your intuition and make solid, empowered decisions from a place of peace without the overthinking and without people pleasing. Okay. So jump on my email list, subscribe to my email list. I'll put all those links in the show notes and I'll put it in the description of this video. It's my energetic scrub, 20 minutes. It just walks you through. I literally tell you what to do. It's super useful. All of my coaching clients use it and they have it like on autoplay when they need it. It's awesome. All right. So jump on that email list. I'll send it to you. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this episode. Make sure you comment below too. I do want to hear from you. And as always, until next time, I want you to remember, love yourself like you mean it. All right. Bye for now.